Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. Sending you tons of love. And guys, I've been going through quite a transformational process. At the time of this recording, it's September 25th, and we're about halfway through the series on how to heal from burnout. And so I'm going to be posting this after that series. But I've been going through quite a transformational process over the last few years. Since I started this channel, but in the last few months in particular, I've been integrating a part of myself that I've been pushing away. And that is my spiritual side and my spiritual gifts. Now, if you've been on this channel with me for a while, you know that I've spoken about, as a kid being able to see spirits and this and that, but I would just want to tell you a bit about what I've been going through and how the content on this channel might shift a little bit. So, for those of you who don't know, I grew up in a very small town, and I've always experienced this world in a very deep way. I have big emotions, I feel other people's emotions, I've pretty much always been able to see energy and to see spirits. And when I was younger, I would actually have premonition dreams as well. So I remember very vividly a few dreams that I had that were extremely vivid. And I woke up and I could remember every detail. And I was like, okay, it seems random because it was just, everyday experiences. Me having a conversation with my dad in his shop, things like that. But then 3 or 4 months later, that exact scenario would happen in my waking life, word for word, and exactly how it played out in my dream. We were standing in the same place, having the same conversation, wearing the same clothes, and I just thought it was wild. I still think it's wild when it happens. But when I was younger, I didn't have the tools to really even explain to the people around me what was happening. I was so scared of being judged and of being called crazy and whatever might come along with that. But this was a very real and very constant part of my life. Seeing different spirits, seeing energies in and around people, and just knowing things. Like I could walk into a room even as a young child and pick up the energy and know what people were feeling, why they were feeling it, kind of the thought forms that were in their field and what that was creating in them. Like I could see it very clearly. And I always had this dialed in attention to detail, to the smallest of details, and remembering things in very detailed ways. And I didn't really understand why my brain worked this way, but it was always there and felt like a very integral part of who I am. And it still is very much an integral part of who I am. And I'll never forget this one time I was in high school and I had this very vivid dream of a friend of mine driving his car down through this mountain pass in the rain, going way too fast, and then pulling out around the corner to go around this white van and crashing. And I woke up startled, sweating, so scared, and I had a moment where I was like, okay, do I tell him what I dreamt or do I just leave it? But I had this overwhelming urge to tell him. So I called up my friend and I told him what I saw in my dream, and I described the mountain pass that you were driving through, like cut through mountains, and you kind of get to the crest of a hill and then you go down, and then it takes like a sharp turn to the right, I think it was, at the end. Anyways, so when I told him this, he's like, you just described the Salmo Creston Pass that I drive all the time to go see my mom. He's like, have you ever driven this road? I said, no, not that I know of. And so we kind of just were like, oh, that's weird, and left it. But not long after, he called me up and was like, holy crap, everything in your dream just happened to me. I was driving the Salmo Creston Pass. It was rainy. I was going at a good clip, and I really wanted to cut around and pass this white van right as we were coming around the corner, and I stopped myself. And I started crying because it was so overwhelming to know that potentially, my friend is safe, but also to have an external validation of this thing that I dreamt. So it wasn't just in my head. This was actually a real life thing that was happening. And at this point, I'd had a number of these dreams come to fruition in real life. So I had felt more comfortable to actually share it. So fast forward into my 20s, I left home, went to college, experienced more traumas, and started drinking quite heavily. And I understand now that when you are drinking heavily, it shuts down your gifts. And to be honest, I think that a part of me wanted to shut down my sensitivity and wanted to just not be so connected for a while. So that happened. Gifts were shut down. I was just living my train wreck 20s life. But anyways, I decided to stop drinking 5 years ago. And it was very difficult for me to do. But I found that once I quit drinking, all of these gifts started just flooding back in. And it was a lot to deal with. And I was determined to learn how to be this sensitive, call it psychic being in this world and not need to numb, and to be able to manage my life in such a way where I could be connected, but maybe I could control how connected I was, and learn how to process all the information that I was taking in and keep myself grounded and calm. So that's the journey that I've been on for the last 5 years, alcohol-free. And it's been a wild ride. And if you go back through my videos, you'll see the changes. You will see the changes because there are videos from 8 years ago when I was still drinking and numbing. And you can see my eyes are different. My skin is different. My voice is different. Very, very different person. Anyways, I digress, but not really. So I was determined to learn how to live with my gifts and work with them, learn how to use them to my advantage, which took me into my Reiki practitioner and master teacher training, which was life-changing for me in all of the best ways. It looked like really deepening my spiritual connection, really getting connected to God, to the Great Spirit, to my guides, angels, all of the beings. And the more I committed myself to that, the more things started to open up. And you've seen that in my YouTube videos. A lot of the videos that I made were channeled messages. I have a regular meditation and walking practice every morning, and that's when I would get the ideas for these videos. And it really felt like ideas were just plunked right into my head. And then when I sit down and I talk, it is channeling. And so I've been kind of doing this a little bit below the radar, But there was always a part of me that wanted to be seen and acknowledged. Not necessarily by all of you out there, but by me. Because I was doing my graphic design, kind of calling myself an intuitive graphic designer for a while. And then I was kind of sort of doing intuitive messages on here, but I wasn't really fully owning it, you know? I wasn't actually really owning my spiritual gifts of clairvoyance, of clairsentience, of this hyper empathy and this attention to detail. And the more that I worked actively in my Reiki practice, connecting with others, helping them connect to their higher selves, to the divine, the more things started opening up even more for me. And something has shifted in me in the last 4 or 5 months. Right now in my life, I am managing more than I have ever managed in my life. And somehow I've found a new level of peace inside the chaos, if you will, which I've been talking about on this channel, but it's hit a new level for me, where it's even really surprising me how I'm navigating everything that I'm navigating with so much calm and focus. The more that I have leveled out and balanced my life and come to this more deep place of calm amongst the storms, the more my channel has opened up in beautiful, miraculous ways. Thank you. I'm so grateful for this right now. And I just wanted to share this with you all because it is beautiful and profound. And I feel like I'm in this trust fall with God right now. I don't know exactly where it's going, but I'm here for the ride. So, as my nervous system leveled out, suddenly my intuitive spiritual gifts have expanded into new levels beyond anything I've experienced before. And one thing that is really interesting is that I've started to meet people's loved ones in spirit. They've actually been coming to me during Reiki sessions, but also during regular life with messages for their loved ones here. And it's been happening more and more and more over the last few months. And I might get emotional because this feels like such a divine gift. And I want to share this with reverence and with gratitude. I don't want to seem like I'm grandstanding in any way, but I'm feeling called to start sharing this more because the messages have been so healing for the people around me, but also for me. And to be able to be that bridge is so humbling and so heart-opening. It's so wonderful that I even get to do this. And I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'll just give you an example of what's been happening lately. So, in Reiki sessions, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. So it makes sense that, these loved ones in spirit would be coming through during an energy healing session. However, just a few weeks, maybe a month ago, I was speaking to a client about building a website for her business. And once we got through with all of the details about her website, she paused and said, well, I kind of wanted to ask you about booking a session for something else. I guess she had seen on my Instagram that I offer Reiki sessions. And so I asked her to just tell me a bit about what's coming up for her. And she proceeded to tell me that her father had passed away a couple of years ago. And before she even could tell me anything, I was overtaken by this wave of love, unlike anything I've felt before. And I started to see in my mind's eye images that he was showing me, feeling feelings that I was to convey to her, and he was just giving me messages for her. So I asked her not to tell me anything about him. Just let this come through as it's supposed to be. And she was shocked, and I was shocked at the things that were coming through that were very specific to her relationship with her father. Very specific. That seemed kind of random to me, to be honest, but to her, they were so meaningful. She was crying, I was crying. It was so beautiful. And I'm starting to have more and more of these experiences happen. And I'm starting to understand now why I've experienced the world in such a way, why I'm so sensitive, why I feel things so deeply, why I have this attention to detail and this very detailed memory, is so that I can translate these messages from the spirit world to my fellow humans. Because a lot comes through and it's very, very quick. So I have to be able to remember all the details so that I can relay it. And it's taken me a few weeks to work through the fear around sharing this, because my inner child, little V, was very afraid of kind of exposing this part of my inner world, for fear of judgment, people thinking I'm crazy, which some of you probably still will. That's fine. Scroll away, unsubscribe, whatever you gotta do. But I'm being called to share this and to share more messages that are coming through. And I feel very much honored to do this work and to connect with people in this way. And like I said, I don't know exactly where this is going to go, but I wanted to share with you, my peeps, because this is and always has been a very integral part of who I am. And I've come to a point in life now where I cannot hide any parts of myself anymore. It's too painful. It's too painful. And I don't want to live in pain. I don't want to. And I don't want to live half a life or a fragmented life. I just don't. And if you've been with me from the beginning, you've seen how, I thought that with my business stuff, I needed to start a separate YouTube channel. And, even with these kinds of messages, I was like, oh, do I start another channel? No. I refuse to fragment myself anymore. So, on this channel, and you ever think about why they call it a channel? It's a channel. You're listening to my words and looking at my face that are sounds and pixels, fractals of light, making my image, coming to you through the ethers. This is miraculous, but it is a channel. This is channeling as well. We're all channeling from that collective consciousness, that unified field that we all inhabit and that animates all of us. Anyways, back to the channel. So, on this channel, I'm going to continue doing those spontaneous, intuitive, shorter messages that you all know and love and that I love to do. But there's also going to be some longer channeled intuitive messages. I'm feeling guided to come sit, hear more, open up, and channel. But also, there's still going to be a lot of practical tips and tools, just like that burnout challenge on this channel. Because the more we open up spiritually, the more grounded we have to be. It's a two-way street. Our human body is the bridge between the spiritual realm and the earthly realm. So we can't just float away and dissociate from our human experience. We came here to experience being a human and all that that entails. So we will also cover practical things like the mindset work, somatic work, how to stay grounded and process our emotions, but also I'll probably be sharing some business tools and tips for creators as well, because that's also a big part of who I am. And I know that this content won't necessarily resonate with everyone, and that's okay. I started this channel as a way to start to express myself and to connect with people, other people who are on a spiritual path. And just let you all know that you're not alone on this journey we call life, because you're not. And I know that when you're on this path, it can feel quite isolating, and you might feel like you're the only one who's experiencing these kinds of things, but you're not. You're not alone. We are here during an amazing, game-changing time on Earth. So many people are waking up and going through massive shifts, and I, for one, am so grateful to be here for this. And my heart already feels lighter just recording this video to share with you all, because I feel now like I'm showing up with all of me. And that's a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling, you guys. And I want to thank you. Try not to cry. I really want to thank you all for being here with me on this journey. Some of you have been here since I started my channel 8 years ago. You've been with me for 8 years. So you've seen the transformations, you've seen the evolution and the changes. And I'm so grateful to all of you who have shown up in this community, sharing in the comments, supporting each other, being here, being here together with me and with all of your soul friends. I have met so many amazing people through this community who I know I might not have connected with if I didn't take that leap 8 years ago. I'm so grateful. So grateful to all of you. And I'm excited to see where we're going to go in this next iteration of this channel and of our journey together. So thank you all so much for being here and being a part of this community. It'll be interesting to see what comes through over the next while. And if you've been considering putting yourself out there in any way, expressing yourself, starting your own YouTube channel, sharing your art, sharing your writing, sharing whatever, I encourage you to do so. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel a little bit scary to put yourself out there in new ways. But the whole point of this human journey is to learn and to grow. And I also encourage you not to think too much or worry too much about what other people are going to think about you. Because at the end of the day, anyone's opinion of you is filtered through their own opinions, their own judgments, beliefs, traumas, memories, all of that. Someone's opinion of you is more of a reflection of them than it is of you. And at the end of the day, all you need to do is pass your own mirror test. If you are living in alignment with your soul, with your spirit, and you are coming with good intentions, that's all you need to know. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You being authentic will magnetize your soul family to you. And it will also repel the ones that are not on the same frequency. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, my grandpa used to say that it takes all kinds to make a world. And he was so right. You're so right, Papa. We're not all going to agree. We're not all going to jive, and that's okay. What matters more than anything is that you jive with you. And that's why I'm sharing this with you today. I can already feel a shift inside my own being, just acknowledging this part of myself and integrating her into this expression. So thank you for listening. Oh my gosh, I just looked down and it was 33:33 on the timer. Beautiful. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm sending you all so much love and gratitude. Thank you for being with me on this journey and on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.